I'm agnostic. I lean towards science. What I saw in my church was it was a bit hypocritical, you know. I see this guy every Sunday for an hour and then he vanishes. Not good enough. There's a lot of lost souls out there. There's loads of people all over London that are preaching Jesus, but they're not. That's all they're doing. They're just preaching. We have a king and a queen, and we have the church, and we have a government, and it wouldn't be a bad thing if they just promoted it a little bit more.
I just had another conversation, this time with an older gentleman. He was, I think, self-described agnostic, a little bit burnt by the hypocrisy that he sees in the church, and maybe with his history of Christian failures, let's call it that. But I think what we agreed ultimately in the end, and what I loved to see in him, is he emphasized the need that for the positive things that the Christian church can bring to the society: stability in young people's lives, help in the times of need, hope, some real mental and spiritual assistance that people need these days. I think he emphasized on that. I think it was a good way for us to sort of agree on that, even if we didn't quite get to the same, let's say, common ground around maybe theology and finer points of faith, but he certainly saw the value of that the faith can bring in people's practical lives. So anyway, have a look how that conversation went. Let me know what you thought, and see you in the next video. God bless. Do you have any belief, any faith, any religion?
I'm agnostic.
Agnostic, okay.
I believe in a higher spirit, but as for, if I'm a Catholic or a Christian or a Jew, no.
Okay.
I lean towards science.
Science.
I think having a faith and a belief is fantastic,
Yeah.
but I like to see the dots joined up and proof who created and where we come from.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And has that ever changed for you? Like in your life, was there a time earlier where you were a little bit more open to spiritual things? And
what happened was my parents were Christians, and I had to get baptized into the church. I didn't have a choice. And then as I grew up, the faith that I was in, which was Catholicism, I started to question.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got to about 12 or 13, I thought, I don't think this is really for me.
Got it. Okay.
I could understand why people went to church, prayed and everything like that, but what I saw in my church was it was a bit hypocritical, you know.
Okay.
It put me off, actually.
Put you off, yeah. And was that since that time you were sort of more just like gravitating towards more the science, the humanities, and
exactly,
that?
Exactly. Yeah.
Now you talked about you sort of, that's sort of where you're leaning towards. Like, but do you think, like, in terms of the answers to some of life's key questions, do you think the science sufficiently is able to sort of answer those questions?
I like science because you have to prove what you say.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll say, this is the Earth, this is the galaxy, this is how old the Earth is. Where did we come from? Big question. But they're always looking for answers. When I was in the church, it was, there is only one creator, this is the Bible, and this is how we do things.
Mm-hmm.
But I went, come on, there's got to be more to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, there's a lot of scientists that are religious.
Well, I was gonna go there next, right? Because there's some of our greatest scientists, like Isaac Newton and Kepler and others.
You can believe in God, but you can do science as well.
Absolutely.
And even the church says there may be a creator, but we also believe in the science.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the reason some of these greats, the scientific great minds of the 18th and 19th century, pursued science is because they believed that if God created the universe, He must have done it in an ordered way that we can understand with laws that we can discern, and it wasn't chaotic, right? There must have been an intelligent purpose and design for. So they set out to discover God's work rather than sort of put him aside. So I think I'm that's why personally where I'm as well. I'm within the idea of they're not irreconcilable. We can have science and faith together. Yeah. But I think there's an area of life where faith goes beyond science, and that is where there are questions that science cannot, like the idea of purpose. Like, why are we here?
Yeah.
What is it that ultimately we're here to achieve? It's difficult for science to have an opinion on that.
Yeah.
Because it speaks about things that are not necessarily material, that are more like ethos and meaning of things.
I mean, religious can give you comfort in other ways, you know, that science can't. But I do like the approach of science because it will have a question and it will do everything it possibly can to get the answer. Whereas with religious, sometimes it's written in the Bible or in doctrine and things like that, and I don't think it's ever questioned, you know.
I was going to ask,
or maybe it is. You know?
Did you try to kind of because I think for me the journey was like the more I questioned what the Bible was saying, like historically, is it accurate? Is true? Like, there was some actual great amount of thought that's gone into that already. Like much more so than in other religions, I would say. You know, the amount of evidence that we have archaeologically, textually. Bible actually stands on some very, very solid foundations. Did you ever sort of try to look into that?
Well, the church went through a very bad patch with the priests, the paedophilia and all that, you know, and that didn't do a lot of good for the church. Then there was the corruption in Rome with money laundering and everything like that. So that put me off. Then I don't know. People were going back to the church, but more people were going away from it, you know. And you've got a little country called Ireland, not far from the UK, which is one of the most religious and countries in Europe. Even now, the tide there is turning. They're turning away. I mean, it's still there, but they're saying, well, we know it's there, but we want to get on and do this, you know. And I look at things like the Crusades, you know, where the popes and the archbishops said, we are going to Jerusalem, you know, and there was just mass slaughter, you know, by Christians and Muslims, but Christians were killing Christians on an epidemic scale, you know. And in Rwanda in the 80s, you know, the Hutu and the Tutsi, you know, the church sang from the pulpit, you know, kill them, do this, do that, and these are meant to be people of religion, and yet they're committing genocide. You know, I don't understand that. And you know what we're seeing in Gaza now, that's with the Jews and the Arabs. They're both one's getting more hit than the rest, and it's all. There's a lot of killing going on in the world for the name of religion. I always thought if this planet had no religion, I think half of our troubles would be dealt with. I think you probably disagree.
No, but I would actually agree to an extent, right? But I would also say
I was in Northern Ireland during the Troubles. I was a soldier, and
right.
Catholics were killing Protestants, and Protestants were killing Catholic, all because one was Church of England and one was Catholicism. And I thought, why are they doing this? They're doing horrible things, and it was all down to religion. Now there's peace there, but it's still brooding underneath.
Yeah, and I like the way you phrase. I mean, I don't actually disagree entirely, but like I like the way you phrase half of our troubles may be gone away. And the reason is that I think ultimately people are just passionate about what they believe, whether it's for religion,
they are,
or whether it's for some other ideology. I mean, there's many. Well, I would say more people have died not necessarily in the name of the religion, but in the name of ideology. If you look at about Stalin and why he killed people, and Mao and Thai killing fields and all that stuff, like in the name of communism, or you know, authoritarianism. A lot more people have been killed.
True.
And so I think you know, it's just pervasive, right? We are as human beings. There's what I would just call it. Sin is within us and pervades this world and our hearts. Whether we call ourselves religious or not, that's a problem of humanity. But I think there's something about, you know.
Also when I was a young child. They'd say to you, you must believe in Jesus Christ. He is the creator. He is the savior. And if you don't, you will go to hell and damnation. So they'll put in, one hand they were saying, come to us, we're nice. And in the other hand they were saying, but if you don't, you'll burn in hell. And I just thought, what a horrible thing to say to you. And they've got this thing. He can see you wherever you are, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. that puts a lot of pressure on people, you know.
Right.
He can see you, he knows what you're doing, he can read your thoughts. And I thought, do I want to be under that sort of, you know, religion to be scrutinised that much? But that's what they were saying to me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so that's interesting. Like, do you like, obviously, if God exists, that He would have to be someone who knows everything, right?
Yeah.
Even our inmost thoughts, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that's like by definition true, right?
Yeah.
But then you were saying that that scared you, right? Or is that putting you off, that kind of stuff?
Yeah. I think it puts a lot of people off because they're saying, look, become a Christian. It'll be good for you. But if you do bad things, you will be punished, and you're always being watched. You're always being looked at. He knows what you're doing, and you just think, my God, you know, really? I'm being watched 24 hours a day.
Right.
I found that quite a big thing to. I found it a bit overwhelming. You know, I mean, when I was a Catholic, I knew many people that were non-Catholic, but they were better than than some Christians. And that's when I started to say, you don't have to be a Christian to be a good person. You can just be a good person.
Sure.
And there are a lot of people that called themselves Christians, that they went to prison, they were murderers, they were rapists. And I thought, what are we dealing with here, you know? And then they'd say, well, you might sin, but you will be forgiven. And I thought, oh God, you know, because I knew Catholics that would go out and do bad things, and then they do a confession, and then on the Sunday they get the Holy Sacrament, and that sort of wipes the slate clean. They're forgiven, and then the following week they go out and they do it all over again. And I thought, no, that it's a cop out, you know.
I agree with that 100%.
You know,
I mean, that's just hypocrisy.
Come
right?
on, you got to, you know.
Yeah, that is hypocrisy.
You can't just say, oh, well, I'll be forgiven and carry on.
Yeah,
That's crazy, isn't it?
I agree with you completely.
That's what they're doing, you know.
A lot of people are doing that. A lot of people are doing. But like at its essence, though, right? If I were to ask you, I mean, you hit on something quite important, right? This idea of forgiveness. I mean, that's ultimately at the essence of Christianity, right? I mean, if we look at what is you talk about the judgment and the sin and other stuff, but really at the essence of Christianity is God who loves His people so much that He gave Himself. He gave His Son for us. It's an idea of sacrifice out of love.
Correct.
And so, you know, to me that is like the biggest expression and the unique aspect of Christianity that talks about sacrificial love. It's an expression of God's love for us, right? I mean, to me, that was very attractive.
Yeah.
To be part of that.
I think the thing that caught my imagination a bit was between science and religion. You can be an agnostic all your life, and yet before you die, you could cry out for God. Something happens, you know? You've got nothing left. You're going to die, and who can you turn to? And a lot of people shout out God or their mother, you know? Isn't that strange? That last few moments, they think, God help me, God pray for us, this is it now, you know. And people do go back to religion much later in life because they just feel, they need that comfort.
Well, that's right, they've exhausted everything, there's nothing
when
else.
you die in the Catholic faith, they ask for a priest.
Yeah.
And he gives you absolution and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a nice thing.
Right.
When you're dying.
Right.
These are the last seconds, minutes, you know,
right.
And you've got a priest next to you, you know, and I think that can be very comforting.
Yeah, indeed.
So
it's just if only we all could have such a peaceful death, right? Where we knew, we knew it was coming.
Just be on your own and die.
Or
must be terrible.
Or just like you get hit by a bus or something like that, right? Like you don't know, right? You don't know, right?
You could be there 1 minute and next minute you're gone.
You're gone. That's it.
But I think if a priest is there and he's holding your hand and he's praying for you, I think that's a lovely way to go.
Right.
You know,
but,
so there is that part.
So certainly there's a beauty of it. There's beauty of it. Like, but isn't it even better to, like, apart from all everything you said, which I agree with, like the corruption, the hypocrisy that is prevalent, religion and Christianity is not immune to it.
Yeah.
But it is at its essence, right? If we had a God who loves us so much that He died for us, that He wants to have a relationship with us. He wants something good for us. He wants us to live the potential that he created us for.
Yeah.
If he created us,
Yeah.
he wants us to live out that potential for our benefit and for our good. I mean, would you agree that that's a fairly positive concept?
It is a positive concept, but I mean, you know, when the Son of God came down to earth, I mean, he went to that place called
Golgotha?
He went to Bethlehem. That's where he was born.
Right.
And then he later went into Jerusalem, and he preached the Sermon on the Mount and everything, and made miracles. But that was then. The world's changed a lot now, you know. People now, they look at religion, they just think, no, it's not for me. Back in those days, it was very strong, in my opinion, you know. The church was strong, people had faiths. It didn't matter, I mean, what faith, but people that believed in something, you know. Whereas now, I look at young people, they're quite materialistic, you know, they want phones, they want laptops, they want to be on Facebook and like that. And you say, do you pray or do you go to church? They go, not really.
Right. So do you think that's better or they're worse? Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is, people do believe, but I'm saying we've got generations of kids coming through now who probably don't believe compared to, say, 100 years ago, because the way the world is today, the way we live, you know, churches are closing now. There's a shortage of priests. There's a lot of the churches get a lot. There is good news, but there's bad news as well, and people tend to remember bad news and just say, "I'm not going to bother," and they just give up.
Yeah.
You know.
But do you know? I don't know if you knew this, right?
But saying, going back to what you said about, you know, believing and having that there, it's great. I go along with that. But is it working? I mean, the stats say to me that everything's getting worse.
Well, the Bible would say everything will get worse, right?
You know,
and that was the prediction, right? That was the prophecy that things are actually going to get worse before, at the end, you know, the end will come. So it's not a surprising from that perspective. But actually, I was going to just react quickly to the young people. I don't know if you knew this, but young adolescents are now filling churches, especially the sort of the Orthodox and the Catholic one, because they have nothing
they're
else.
Old people now, and they're dying, you know.
Well, so the young people, because the society is not giving them an anchor, is not giving them a structure, is not giving them answers. They say, it's, whatever you decide, that's your lot in life. You know, do your own thing. But we're realizing now that we're spiritual beings. That saying to me, "Oh, just do your own thing," is not good enough. I need to, you know, meaning the people need guidance. They need to have some direction. They need to have a purpose, and the society is not able to give them that purpose.
Correct.
And so they're looking for something more. They're looking for something more. Yeah,
they are, and it's not being, you know, young people are looking for guidance, but they just can't find it, and. It is out there, but it's not out there like they can go and just meet somebody. I mean, there's loads of people all over London that are preaching Jesus, but they're not. That's all they're doing. They're just preaching. You know, I think we need more structure where young people can go, sit down, talk to somebody, and get a plan together. But I don't really see that. You know.
Well, there is a YMCA, right? Young Men's Christian Association, and the Salvation Army.
Salvation Army do a great job.
Yeah, all of them. Well, these are all sort of
they do a great job.
Yeah, these are all sort of organizations that sprang out of the Christian movements in the 19th century, and many of them still exist. But yes, I mean, if you don't have people attending, then those movements are not going to thrive, right? But I think there is a sense of the whole being filled now again, because the young people are getting more interested. The dangers.
Are they?
Well, the danger is going to be there is a hole.
Yeah.
The danger is what are they going to fill their hole with, right?
Exactly.
Either it's going to be that, or it's going to be something much worse, right?
Yeah.
The worst thing being drugs, and social media, kind of the dopamine hits that they're getting from just endless scrolling. I mean, those are the kind of, or some occult even sort of promises, which there's a lot of lunatics out there, right? So that the question is, there's a lot of things vying for their attention at the moment.
Someone told me once that a lot of people find God when they go to prison, because they've lost everything they might be doing a long stretch, and they've got time to think things over.
Yeah.
And suddenly God comes in there, you know. Even drug users and people that have gone right down to the bottom, they come out, they find God, they say, I'm born again,
Yep.
I'm going to wipe the slate clean. And I'm all for that, because if it means it's going to make them better, get them a job, become a better citizen, then I think that's a good thing. But to get to that, they've had to go right down to the bottom. What I'm saying is, if we can get a way of preventing people going through prison, drugs, crime, young people who are a bit lost, they're from broken families, and they can be fixed, wouldn't that be a great thing?
That would be great.
Wouldn't that be a great thing?
Absolutely. Do you have something
because
that
they're
you think?
walking around right now, totally lost,
Absolutely.
alone.
Absolutely. Yeah. And do you think there's something that could provide a solution, like for
Well,
that
do you know
problem?
what? Do you know? We have a king and a queen, and we have the church, and we have a government, and it wouldn't be a bad thing if they just promoted it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now in Britain it's multicultural, but what we're saying is it doesn't matter what religion you are. Let's try and get people back into the religion of their choice and learn a bit more about it, you know, bring them into it. You know, like when they brought in national service, you've got to go and do 2 years, 3 years, like it or lump it. And most of them that done it said it was quite good.
Yeah.
You know, it was character building,
That's it,
teamwork.
Just like army, kind of just sorts you up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you went through this yourself, right? Yeah.
So if they have like a religious boot camp, but not like indoctrinating you, but helping people, I think that would be good.
That's a good idea.
But you need government, you need councils, you need a mechanism there that can bring the flock in, you know, and once they come in, work on them. But at the moment, I'm not seeing that. They're all just out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of lost souls out there.
Yeah.
You know, sad, lost, lonely, detached. They feel they're not wanted, they're useless. Yet, if they did get into a community or there was a program that they could join, I think it would do them the world of good.
I agree with that. Well, that's something that we can certainly agree on. I'm glad that you're sort of seeing the value.
But I don't think the church is doing that enough. You know, they're good at preaching. I mean, most churches I go to now, or I go all over the country, they're locked up because of crime.
Yeah.
You try and see the vicar, he's busy or he doesn't want to talk to you or anything like that. And you just think, why am I bothering? Why am I bothering? I see this guy every Sunday for an hour and then he vanishes. Not good enough.
I agree with you there as well.
Not good enough.
I agree,
the old church of like, you know, the 17th, 16th century, it was the hub of the village. So everyone went to church 7 days a week. And it weren't just to pray, it was to talk. It was a communal place. They would eat, they would drink, they would mix, they would exchange. We don't get that anymore now.
No.
Well, it does go on a little bit, but
some
not,
areas,
but not like it should do.
Yeah.
It's just the church, very nice, Saxon, Christian church, all locked up, a phone number and an email, and it's too detached. You know, there should be people out there just saying, come in. Like you've got a Greggs or a NatWest Bank. There should be a place where you can walk into, sit down and go, can I have a chat with you? I've got a few problems. You know?
Yeah.
And that can save someone from either committing suicide, being really upset with something, but having someone to talk to is a start. And I think that's the beginning of getting people back onto a religious thing, without forcing them. Just say, look, do this, do that. We do this, we do that, and but very softly, you know. We don't want to throw it down their throats, you know, because that frightens people off.
True. Although some people, I think, not. I agree with you. That probably is would work for majority. Some people do need a bit of a kicking, right? And like you said, like people who are kind of down in the doldrums, right? They need to be sort of maybe jolted out of it before they are allowed to perish. So some people need maybe a little bit more of
There should be a place in every high street right across Britain where people can walk in there and done by the church or whatever, and people can sit down, have a cup of tea and talk to someone about anything, religion, family problems, and that's how you get the flock in and go from there. You can go to a hospital or your GP and get tablets, but you might not need tablets. You just need a soul just needs another soul to talk to and heal that way. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah.
But I'm not seeing that at the moment.
I'm not either. No, I think you hit on something important.
When you say, "Oh, believe in God and have a faith," that's like saying, "Oh, do well at school and get your A levels and everything like that." But you've got to get the pupil into school on the right curriculum, teach them, and then they get it. It's no good just saying, "Believe in God, get a good job." You've got to bring them in and help them, because they need help.
That's right.
And without the help, we're just going to stay. We're just going round in circles.
Agreed.
But I think that costs time. It costs money, and I think the government could do a lot more.
Yeah.
But nice.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for your time and good thoughts. Yeah, I think we agree quite a lot there. Yeah.
We did actually. I mean, we do lap over.
Yeah.
But it's just finding solutions now to how do we go forward and how do we fix it.
Amen to that.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and
All
thank
right.
you for your time. Thank you.